Yeah. If I die tomorrow, I hope you hear these words. I ain't here to flip no birds or sip no serve. Hope the future generations can get this urge. Stay woke, youngin', and avenge these nerds.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesdays. First Tuesday after the 4th of July.
Yes, indeedy.
Did everyone have as much fun as us? Because we had a blast this weekend.
It was a good time in the all white.
And the drip. Gotta respect the drip.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, head over to our TikTok. You would definitely see it. Oh, yeah, that was fun. No, it was fun. It was fun spamming George's phone with a bunch of barbecue. I never did show him the love. We love you, George.
I don't apologize for nothing.
I hope he enjoyed that Whopper, man. I really do.
Yo.
But let's give them a shout out because also too we put in the description because George and Sam's and Anibal Arroyo's Kickstarter just went live today for Forbidden. The link is in the description. These guys are celebrating. This is for issue 2 for Forbidden. That's up there. Also too we have also to Johnny C's Kickstarter, which is going live. Go definitely in there so that this way you guys, again, could support these amazing comics that are on there, Surrounded by Death. So make sure that you guys really check that out there. We got some announcements. So we're going to do some announcements. You guys ready for that?
Let's do it.
So this past Friday, new episode came out this past Friday featuring Jason Lennox. We were talking to Jason Lennox for the Nerds of the Round creative series. Definitely check that out. That is on the YouTube. It is on the podcast. It's on Spotify. Check it out. We talked to Jason Lennox. Upcoming event. We wanted to give this shout out for all cosplayers out there. So mark this date down for cosplaycentral.com. They're doing a cosplay on the stage at 10:45, 1:45, 6:45 on July 10th. So make sure you guys definitely do check that out for the cosplay and everything right there for all of our cosplay friends that are out there. So I will now remove that. That is a big shout out to them. Next up on the agenda, which is ImbionCon virtual show, August 28th and 29th. The show is free for for all creators to participate and for people to come. There are VIP level and packages. You can use code Get Nerdy with it to get 10% off VIP packages for creators and people who are also want to attend the show. So there will be some cool swag there. But again, the event is free for all to attend. So save the date, 28th, 29th. There are over 30 pounds. Nerds at around at night at 8 p.m. on the 28th. We'll be doing a drink and draw that night as well. You saw our last drink and draw. We're going to do it again. There are going to be a lot of fun activities. There's even a D&D game. Another one. He said another one. Up next, Geeks Out Staten Island, September 4th in person. We will be there in person hosting a panel in person. You get to see us.
Holy crap.
That's going to be so wild.
We're hosting it, that we're participating in the panel.
We are hosting it. Anyway, it will be the Nerds of the Round talking about podcasting. You will see us live September 4th in person at GhostLikeCon. Go to GhostLikeCon.com. September 5th, they will be virtual. For those who cannot make it in person, you can go virtual on September 5th. And finally, he was on the show before. We get to see him in a credit chat. He hosts a great show. His con is coming back at CreditCon. Mike Lopez's Credit Con is coming back October 23rd, 24th at the Poughkeepsie Galleria Mall. They've already got some great talent that has been announced. So make sure you're checking out his social media or go to the website right there at CreditConHV.com. So again, these are all awesome events for you guys. So we just gave you the down, gave you the showdown. And yes, what up, Cheyenne? How are you?
What up?
All right, so we are talking about Loki episode 4. We have a great cast in the back of guests that are going to come out. The episode 4. What's episode 4, Tone?
Seriously, you both guarding my spotlight right now? Let's get everyone on the show, then we'll do this.
Okay, then we'll do this. Okay.
Listen, right now?
I'm still hyped off of the ribs, the chicken that you made, the burgers.
And then you trying to take my shine, man. Come on.
Yo.
Hey, it's that White Claw energy. That's what they call it. So first up,
one job.
Let's do it. So our first guest on the we just put her stuff in the description because I'm so happy to have this book in my hands because she is one of the creators behind this book. I want to give it up for the awesome, the one, the only Daphne Lang. Daphne,
welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Now the thing is though, just to give everybody a heads up though, when Sebastian invited me onto the show, I told him I was not watching Loki.
Oh, you just joined us.
So I am here to I guess talk comics and to be that annoying aunt of yours that wants to watch a show with you, but it's going to bother you every 30 seconds about who's that? Why are they doing that? Who's that character? Why?
I'm here
what's
for
the
it.
story?
By the end of the show, we're gonna get Daphne wanting to watch the show.
That's right.
That's the goal.
I hope that Seabass told you what goes down, because
Right.
we are not pulling punches.
No, that's fine. I am not one of these
definitely got the
spoiler
one.
reversed
All right, cool.
people. It's like
Cool.
because like I'm one of these people where it's like, yeah, you could tell me everything, but it's a completely different experience to watch it. So it's not that big of a deal for me, especially since people talk about spoilers online all the time too. So
it's already spoiled the day of. But we love to have you on the show again, guys. Definitely also check out Daphne's links in the. So again, this is an amazing book. Just to show you some inside artwork again, so you guys get the close up of it.
Thank you.
This is just phenomenal again, and I was like, ooh, got me a new toy. Next, he has been on the show. We talked with WandaVision. We talked to him with a creator series. He was telling us about his company and everything, what they were doing, his projects and all that. So you definitely want to give it up for this guy and go back to check out the later episode we did with him, where we were doing the creator series and everything. I want to give it up for the one, the only returning Chris Van Dyke.
Hey, good to be back, guys.
What's up?
Glad to have you back.
Thanks for having me. Again.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
I just watched episodes 2, 3, and 4 today. I've been really behind, and then I got the message, which was like, we're sending out the link at 8:50 tonight. I'm like, oh crap, I got 3 episodes to watch, so I can talk about it. So, but I managed to do it.
All of us. You haven't managed to do it right there.
And then next, we got to invade his show. And it was fun invading his show. He does a show on Twitch. He talks to some amazing people and everything. And it's just always fun around, just get chit chat with this guy. Law has been on his show, and he also came on our show last time. And it seems that there's a recurring pattern as he's on the show when we talk about a 4th episode. So I want to give it up for the one, the only, the Mighty Pong.
Ooh.
Welcome back, sir.
Hello. Once again from fabulous Las Vegas.
Welcome back.
Yes. Yeah, we have that Vegas heat tonight with us.
So, yeah. It's like the Vegas heat with the Miami humidity.
There you go.
Oh, that feels so uncomfortable.
Yes.
The only thing we don't have is the same sports teams as we were mentioning last week.
It is all good. So, Tone, here is your spot.
There we go.
Do the thing.
Let's let things be where they are in place. So tonight we are talking episode 4 of Loki, the Nexus event. What happened? It's all a lie. It's fake. The timekeepers. It's all bullshit. It's Fugazi. Where is the Wizard of Oz? Where is Oz? Is it Kang the Conqueror? I believe it is.
It was Agatha all along.
Maybe it was Agatha. At the end of the day, no punches will be pulled. We are a spoiler-filled show. As we always say, I don't got time for 2 shows to talk about the same goddamn thing.
Let's do this.
Tony Stark has died. Let's get to it.
There you go.
So we're talking about the Wolverine appearance at the end of the episode, right?
That too. See, Chris had the freshest take. He was like, remember, you got to talk about that too.
Yeah, got to talk about the Wolverine appearance. Hugh Jackman showed up at the last instant. Don't get that out there. Get that out. Get the rumors started.
If you want to get me to watch the show, that's what you do.
There we go.
That and I think they missed a big opportunity not having Tilda Swinton play Lady Loki. I swear to God, if they had Tilda Swinton play Lady Loki, I would have been glued to that TV set.
Well, we give it up for the actress because, like, her IMDb, since she's taken on this part, and she was the most popular person on IMDb within the last week.
Oh,
and it just skyrocketed. So she's getting some traction. But there's an interesting theory I want to get your guys' heads on, get your guys' thoughts on, and I'm sharing the TikTok that in the links for those who check it out later. There's an interesting theory that was posted by She Loves Marvel on her TikTok account, and the theory is that each episode of Loki is based on an Infinity Stone, and she's come to this theory that if you look at each episode, there is a different color shot in these episodes. Like last episode, it was just all in purples. We did have one episode with them all, and it was like in the greens, and we see heavy colors in these episodes. So I want to get your guys' theories on that. Let's go. We'll start with Chris.
I don't know. Last time I was on the show, I was positing a giant theory that all the entire MCU had been a fantasy the entire time inside of Wanda's head, and we were going to introduce the mutants. So I don't know if my theories go very far. I mean, I like it. The show is definitely it's a character study of Loki. So the idea of sort of getting different aspects of him through the stones could be good. We've obviously seen the stones way back in episode 1. Having just watched them today, I didn't notice the color thing, but I'll believe her. Sounds like a good theory.
And Daphne, what do you think about that theory about them?
I think that these, so far from what I've heard about all these shows, which I haven't seen, by the way, I mean, it sounds like a feasible theory. I mean, it's like everything done on these shows are very deliberately chosen. So I wouldn't put it past them, although I thought you were going to talk about the self-cessed stuff. So it's like,
we're going to get deep.
That was the other theory, but no. I think that it could be absolutely possible, because it's like, it seems like that's really like a theme, along with all the everybody in the Marvel universe goes to therapy. So yeah, I mean, it's like, this is I'm sure that, especially since people were expecting like a big reveal at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and they kind of didn't get it. So Loki would have to be building up to something big, because it's like, I don't know what series they have after Loki. This was supposed to be like, I guess, like their big trilogy, because is there any other show expected to come out after Loki?
We have What If is coming in the summer.
But I don't think like that's.
And then I think Hawkeye is the next live action.
But I think Loki's going to be more of diving deep into the multiverse of madness and everything, because again, we're getting these concepts and all that.
You see, because that's it's like, because Doctor Strange is my boy, so it's like that's I'm waiting for. But yeah, I completely can run with this theory, because like I said, nothing that the showrunners do, I mean, everything that the showrunners do on these shows is extremely, extremely deliberate. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And I want to give a shout out to some people in the chat. Aurelus, she'll have a bizarre theory at the end of the show, like the rest of us. Pond ducked out because he was coming next. Rich, it goes, it's because of Sebastian that I can't unsee the Al Pacino Scarface. It's the gangster Ricky Ricardo. You're welcome, Rich.
Yes, because he is. Yes.
Joe, probably just drastically different looks because of the directors. I think it's more than because, again, Marvel plays a lot with colors.
Theory, if you're talking about color theory that deliberate, I don't think so.
And I think we're going to have to wait for the multiverse movie to see what else. I think this is going to be a setup, and like they did with everything with again WandaVision, it was just a prequel to what we were getting, and what we're seeing with the colors right now. It's very plausible, because I don't think they do this on purpose, because it was another interesting theory. If you look at Dormammu, his powers were purple; they were radiating from his eyes. If you look at what is it, Wanda?
You want to do it though? Do it.
I would let Tone touch up on it. Let's go, Tone's ready. No, go,
Tone.
It's
not that. It's Dormammu. Like who?
Dormammu.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll skip you, Tone. Okay.
You see, this is why you guys.
Did you say your mama? You said something about my mama. What was that?
Oh man. Yo, we can't. That's ridiculous. Like, I try to really hide a poker face when you do that, but that was bad. That was rough.
Listen, I'm slipping on the tongue. Pong, you're up next. What do you think about the color theory?
So I'm gonna need a refresher, because I was battling the audio demons a second ago. What's the color theory?
Each episode has been a reflection of each Infinity Stone, and in that order, or not in that in particular. I think the first one was the Soul Stone. The second one was the Time Stone, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we haven't done time and mind. Time and space are the two we haven't gotten yet.
So we've gone through all the other four, essentially. Yeah. So each one is a reflection of something. 2 was the Reality Stone, 3 was the
Power
Stone, and then this past episode was
Mind.
Yeah, that sounds just way deliberate.
Yeah,
I think so too.
That's the kind of thing they do. Like the head security ladies. Ravonna Renslayer. Her her designation was A23, and the first comic that Ravonna Renslayer showed up in was Avengers 23. So they do stuff like that all the time. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that was, what they were doing.
Laura, I want to get your thoughts on that because you're the one who shared with me that color theory.
So it made its rounds around TikTok, and like it just happened to come across, and I was, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it's not something where it's like a far out reach to like think about it. It's one of those things where it's like, oh shit, like we know Marvel to be very deliberate with a lot of things, and especially with like the colors they've been using and like the tones and the themes of each like episode. It makes sense, even if it's a fan theory that just happens to coincide with just the coincidence of what they went with. But we have 6 stones, we have 6 episodes. Like it's a little too close to on the nose for me, and I'm just like, listen, even if it turns out, we didn't intentionally plan it, I'm still gonna go with it. It's a solid theory.
The one downside I could see is that the beginning of the series kind of makes the stones completely irrelevant. So I see what you're saying, but at the same time, why would they go through so much trouble to be like, by the way, the stones, they're paperweights now. We don't care.
I think I get it.
Because at the end, it probably won't be.
Yeah.
Or even what each stone represents and what episode has represented.
I actually found a theory on why the stones aren't doing anything. I can say that to later if you want to. I don't know.
Go ahead.
So there is a theory on the internets that the TVA is in the microverse, which ties into Kang.
Heard that little ball. We've actually seen it.
They're saying that the TVA is Chronopolis.
Yes.
Yes, it's at least in Chronopolis, which would explain why the stones don't work, because everything works different when you're shrunken down in the quantum realm. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole magic ability.
I did hear that. I did hear that theory.
But I want to get off of theories, but I want to talk about everyone's favorite scene in this episode, which was to me, probably everyone's favorite scene, which is the end scene. We see.
Oh, we jumping straight to the end.
Yeah, we're jumping straight to the end because come on, we got it. That's it. We got it. We're gonna jump into the meats and bones of this one. It's like Chris is getting ready.
We're jumping to the Hugh Jackman dance sequence, right? The one. That
Right. Yeah.
So we got Kid Loki, comics classic Loki, and a boastful Loki at the very end when we thought that Loki was dead. No, we get kind of like a Marvel end credit scene in this pocket dimension. I want to get everyone's thoughts on this scene, and we are going to start with you, Pong, please, about all the Lokis at the very end.
How are you leaving out Loki Gator?
Oh yeah, there you go, Loki Gator too.
They got Loki Gator. Yeah,
they have a
can't leave it on
Loki
him.
Gator?
Yes.
So then
Loki Gator.
They could bring in Throg. They could bring in, Throg and,
maybe
and then have another show with that.
There you go.
Team them up with Rocket Raccoon and Better Ray Bill. And
whole squad go to Guardians of the Zoo.
The thing that immediately drew my eye on the last scene there, though, was actually what was behind them. You got Avengers Tower.
Yep.
Which leads me to ask, are they in a New York where Sokovia didn't go as it did in our universe?
The theory is that this is a garbage universe, similar to the movie that in Thor Ragnarok, where there's just being garbage dumped, because they're going to show another scene of a boat that's just appeared. So everything that they were blowing up to reset time was being deposited there. So yeah, like you said, the destroyed Avengers Tower. So it's kind of like a big, it's kind of like a big dimensional universal garbage dump.
Yeah,
I'm curious because I like that theory, but I'm also of the theory that like that's the one timeline or one place where things went so wrong, but no one cares about it. Like it is a garbage dump, but it is also the timeline that they keep way off in the distance that no one talks about or hears about because they just kind of sweep it under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
That's my working theory.
That's interesting. Yeah, like where the very first Avengers movie went sideways. Right. And so Loki's running everything, and so they just keep that over there. That's the universe we don't talk about.
Chris, I'm going to tag you in.
Okay. Well, But I mean, I've been waiting to see another variant of Loki appear in the TV show. Anyways, I mean, part of theories that turned out not to be true already. I was sort of waiting for a Gugu to actually be a Loki variant pulling all the strings. When they got into the elevator right at the end of that episode, I thought her sort of being evil was almost too obvious. So when they got in the elevator, I was sort of waiting for her to transform into a third Loki and have the other two Lokis like completely lose their minds, and that didn't happen. So amazing. Obviously, I'll keep sending my little fan theories, which don't come true, off to Marvel writers, see what they'll do with it. But yeah, I mean, I'm really obviously they've killed Loki, but they've killed Loki, so we've got all the other Lokis. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see what they're going to do in the next few episodes. I think they're gonna pull out some weird, crazy variants and just have a whole I'd say Crisis of Infinite Earths, but we've got the wrong comic universe going there. But I'd love to see a whole bunch of just like pull out all the stops and just have a dozen different Lokis.
Yes.
As part of sort of just sort of blowing the whole TVA, as all the variants like just pile on into some weird, crazy mashup. So yeah.
Daphne.
Yes. I guess. Well,
how do you feel about that review? Oh my God, I know you haven't seen the show.
No, yeah, but the thing is, I'm familiar enough with the universe. So there was one line that I remember overhearing, because my husband watches Loki, and the one time that he was watching it, so there was a line that was said where it's like, no, when Loki was protesting how the Avengers were messing up time, and then he was told, no, they were supposed to do that. You were not. And so that kind of got me, so it's like, thinking about all this, it's like, so that means that Loki is Loki supposed to be dead? So it would make sense to bring all these other manifestations of Loki to kind of like, because maybe that variant is supposed to be dead, but not these other variants. So there's still other variants of Loki that they're going to be pushing out into, I guess, the multiverse or whatever, this show connects to in the end. So that was the thing too. When I heard about Lady Loki, and now you're telling me that there's even more, that there's like Kid Loki, and there's a Gator Loki.
Alligator Loki.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's like, okay, so either Tom Hiddleston's contract with Disney is coming up, right? Or this is just a way for them to be able to kind of like spread out the Loki character without spreading out Tom Hiddleston. So a little bit more practical theory there.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Or just for contract negotiations. We got
exactly.
Contract negotiations. Loki, please.
We just have seasons
we got
of
an alligator.
Right, yeah.
We got an alligator who's going to come on.
Don't tag you in with that. But go, Pong.
Oh, I was just going to say what Daphne said just a second ago kind of like resonated with me, because it's like you're bringing in all these different Lokis, right? And we already know that in the Spider-Man movie, we're going to have Tobey Maguire. We're going to have that did the second Spider-Man. He's one of my favorites. I love him. And we're also going to have the current one whose name is and
he's so good with names.
Oh man, I'm mine like a steel trap, rusted, and no one uses them anymore. But anyway, no, no, seriously though, we're gonna have like a lot of these now. We're gonna have like alternate Spider-Mans. We got alternate Lokis. There's something coming. We got Doctor Strange in the multiverse.
Right.
Multiverse of madness. Tone, I want to get your thoughts on the Lokis.
Well, I think it's really just kind of throws a wrench into the whole. We've been saying propaganda for the for the timekeepers and all this. I think it really does throw a wrench into it, because this is, as Law had mentioned, it's a pocket timeline that's there where they just send all of the Lokis, and I think these Nexus events that cause the interference are just things that they deem that need to be getting rid of. So I think it just throws that in there, and you have all these Lokis there, and whatever Earth this is, whether it's Ultron rules it or Loki destroyed it in 2014 or anything like that. I always thought it was interesting, and the fact that when they clip the branches, you'd think that they're dead. But then once it happened to Tom, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. We got 2 episodes left. Yeah. There's no way. Like I was on the fence and being like, all right, cool, we're not going to see Owen Wilson anymore. And I was kind of bummed about it. But then they did something. I was like, nope, we're going to get him back. And is that what, do they do that with everyone? Or is it just for Lokis? Or were they really trying to kill them? And then the Lokis kind of knew what the hell was going on. And they've been bringing their own as they keep getting clipped for a bigger purpose. Because the Lokis have been meant to be a greater being, a greater variant. You know, I think kind of playing into that whole God of Mischief thing and making them...
They're agents of chaos.
Exactly. And just making them throw a wrench into this system that the timekeepers have been keeping afloat. So I still don't know, because I want to know more about this alternate timeline of where everyone's at. Yeah. If Owen Wilson is there with him, or if it's just kind of Loki and dealing with dealing with it by himself. But also I think you know, Seabat, we may touch about it a little bit later, but also the fact that we have Kid Loki and we have Enchantress Loki, and just kind of seeing all these different characters from the Young Avengers kind of making their appearance, and kind of seeing what we're going to see them for in the later lines of the MCU. Well, you want to give your thoughts, or we want to jump to the next question?
I gave my thoughts for the most part, I thought, but essentially, again, it's going to be, I think this is a pocket dimension timeline kind of space where they just dump their garbage or what have you. I will say that we're going to probably see when they reveal the why, a lot of it's really going to be that Lokis are Nexus creatures, Nexus beings, whatever, what have you. They're agents of chaos, and it's easier to control one sacred timeline than it is a bunch of Lokis running around in multiple multiverse timelines. It's just easier for them to have that kind of control.
And I'm glad you bring up Nexus, because you know why? That's the next question. Is we're going to be talking about the Nexus because we saw something interesting.
Tag
me and dig me. Wait, wrong tag.
All the way.
This side.
There we go.
Off the top rope.
We've learned about Nexus. We've learned about Nexus events. We've learned about Nexus beings, like Wanda is a Nexus being. Mm-hmm. But then we also learned in Loki where late Sylvie was hiding in different Armageddon timelines, apocalypses, because there was nothing that they can do whatever they want, and you didn't detect the Nexus event or anything. What caused a Nexus spike that the TVA had never seen before was that Tom Hiddleston Loki was falling for Sylvie, and they were kind of about to kiss and about to form some Nexus spike event. I want to get people's thoughts on that. Like, what do you think was behind that event? Something that they didn't see, that they're like, yo, what the hell's going on? That they're now questioning them. Like, what was that? And I will tag the man of many faces, Chris, with the go ahead. What are your thoughts on it?
Thinking man face.
Yeah. Stroke my beard. Oh, my bourbon's gone, so my thoughts are out. I'm sorry. Yeah, you've often seen in things like, science fiction or, fantasy books where you sort of have two forces that almost can't be allowed to meet, sort of a matter or antimatter. So if you have these different variants, especially ones that are the gods of chaos, he's a god of mischief. That is his entire, being. And especially if they are, if the TVA is sort of obsessed with them, there has to be some reason. And it does appear that they have a specific, a more than passing interest in the Lokis. So what, and it could just be, we've already seen like the Loki and, female Loki, they're different sides of his personality. Perhaps it's almost like just take a step back and do sort of a therapeutic thing. Perhaps it would represent some healing of Loki that would allow him to be more powerful than he already is, like either in a literal or figurative sense. He could sort of combine his different personalities rather than sort of being multiple broken individuals, but be one complete Loki. Maybe that's what they are trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent the healing that he needs to go through.
I like it. All
right.
Daphne.
That was without bourbon. So
there was like, we gotta get more bourbon.
That was like the serious answer. So I'm going to give the I don't know what I'm talking about answer. I don't. So the thing is, I didn't understand the controversy when that popped up, because it's like it made complete sense to me. It's like Loki's a narcissist. So it's like, so the fact that he actually gets to see a female version of himself, it's like, he's like gazing into the pond, wanting to kiss himself. Like that didn't surprise. I don't know why people were shocked by that. For everything else, though, I'm just gonna say Galactus. Throw it out there. The rest of that mythology I'm not familiar with. So, but I'm gonna go with his theory that they need to keep all the Lokis separate, unless or else he becomes more powerful the more he is one entity. But yeah, Galactus.
I like the Galactus.
And then Dave has a question for Tome that I must ash, but I'll shave it for later. That's a mustache Dave joke. That's a battle between Tone and Dave. Joe, just to answer you, I don't think we're gonna see Tom leave the MCU anytime soon, because Tom is staying. Disney knows, and
he said he's open for whatever. To kind of just keep it going.
I also think if they keep him, they brought him back, even though he's not technically in the main continuity where Thor, we know Thor to be. Once this opens back up, I have no doubt in my mind that he'll just bounce back into the regular timeline.
I mean, it's like Tom Hiddleston just seems to be. I mean, they got him to go to San Diego Comic-Con in character. Yep. So it's like I don't see him just abandoning.
He's having fun.
He's having fun. I just think that the multiple Lokis allow them to pull a Mandalorian on him, where it's it's still him, but they have other people in the costume.
I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Nerd Truth, who was on last week, and he's actually met Tom Hiddleston while he was dressed as Loki, as he was in his Loki cosplay, and they look like twins standing next to each other. But Pong,
what a pass!
I want to get your thoughts on the Naxos.
Actually, guys, real quick, sorry, I've got to duck out. I've got to start bedtime.
No problem, Chris. Chris, thank you for coming on. Everybody, check out Chris's links. Check out Chris's links in the social media, please. Chris, thank you for coming on, brother.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
No problem. Good night.
But Pong, we'll tag you in about this Nexus events and everything.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go in a similar direction, but not quite as far to the first two, because I think that it's not necessarily the two, becoming one or anything like that, but they've got two Lokis that are both aligned in purpose, in glorious purpose, one might say, right? So it during the first part of them, meeting, there was definitely friction between the two of them. I'm in charge. Now they're like, no, we have to take this thing down. We have to burn this MFer down. So we're gonna go. So now they have to deal with two Lokis that are both aligned in purpose and not fighting each other. So I think that's what would cause that kind of a almost straight up spike.
And we're seeing a lot in his character, and I think this is the best that we've seen the character explored more and everything in terms of who the character is, how Daphne put it, how narcissistic the character can be, because it just falls in line. And I think they're really getting to explore something that we didn't get to see in the movies. Law, please tell us about these Nexus beings. Your thoughts?
So yeah, I was gonna touch up on that, because I don't think they ever truly call them. Do they call them Nexus beings? Like that Loki is a Nexus being? I don't think they touch on. I don't think they directly call him. But I feel like we know him to be a Nexus building. What up, Dro? And I feel like having two, if every Loki in the multiverse is a Nexus being, just having two of them, like Pong said, aligned and together creates a Nexus event. Because they can do it kind of on their own, but they also need a catalyst. But you have two similar Nexus beings going, bet we're going to do that same thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where they are. They're going to create an event. Doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter when. Doesn't matter what. It's going to be like, oh, shit. They're aligned. Now everything just gets amplified by 1,000%. Easy. Yeah. So I also agree that Loki is a narcissist. So when people were like, oh my gosh, I was just like, no, it makes sense. He sees himself, he sees everyone else as beneath him or lesser than, for the most part. Even when he admitted defeat and got through that whole progression in the first episode, we still see that he still holds himself higher than most, even until he met his match with like Lady Loki with Sophie. So like with Sophie. So it was like, come on, really? We're really surprised this is gonna happen. It's like looking in a mirror and just being like, yeah.
He was mad that Sylvie got more security than he did.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah.
So it's admiration. It's a little bit of envy, playful, and then just like looking at yourself and being like, "Oh,
I'm hot."
Right, I'm hot, and I can put myself in my own place. Like, come on, man! It's everything he's ever wanted. So like, I'm interested to see where they go with this. Tone, tag. Wrong way.
I got it. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone touched on it. So for me, this whole thing with the Nexus spike, I just had to kind of go back to the fact that Mobius and Sylvie had both said it, that Lokis are meant to be alone, and the fact that in that first episode, those first 2 episodes where we see them, they're 2 individuals alone in their own world, and it's not until they are facing their end. And they come together, they become, one partnership, one group, and defying that whole thing that Lokis are always meant to be alone. It's been written, and so it shall be done. And I think that's what caused such a dramatic spike. But what I think is interesting is that we knew that this was an event. Like, we knew this was an apocalypse. They weren't going to survive this. They were going to die. And yet the timeline did the event, and the TVA intervened and had like a self-fulfilling prophecy of having the Lokis come back. Because they, at that, which I think is fairly interesting as to why they had that spike in an Armageddon event when they were both ready and willing to go. Yeah. And I think that kind of, I don't know. I don't know if if there's a glitch or something, but I think there may be something there to the fact that the timeline went off and they responded to that and were able to find them, when had they just left them alone.
Such a big spike. Like we saw the original spike when Sylvie threw all the time bombs throughout the timeline, created all those branches, but that didn't create one single spike and a bunch of branches. This created a huge spike where everyone in the room shit a fucking brick.
Yeah, so
I think
it's it'll be interesting to see if there's something else going on in play, because if they just left them there, then the illusion of, and all the shit that happened, all that internal, people kind of figuring out who they are and having their memories, and the timekeepers, the timekeeper robots, they wouldn't have been destroyed because it still would have been at this extinction level event. Jesus Christ!
Tone, you just cracked the code. No, hold up. Okay, so check this out. What caused the spike was not the Lokis getting together. What caused the spike was them dying. They were supposed to go back and defeat the TVA and kill the timekeepers or time lizards. Which is why the time lizards, in advance of this happening, replaced themselves with androids.
Okay.
I know. That's pure speculation there.
That's fun.
We'll have to see.
We're going to talk about some fun scenes now, just have some fun with it, because this episode introduced a lot of fun stuff. So we get the fun scene of the returning Lady Sith on repeat, knocking Loki every chance she gets, like just pretty much slapping him. Like, you just had to see this to see it. Just Lady Sif just smacking him upside ways on repeat. It's just like a bad episode. Also, too, can we please get an SNL skit of Agent Mobius meeting his other selves that have been sent to the same place as Loki, but being like Lightning McQueen, being
my god!
Would you guys be down for that skit? I need people to co-sign.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be just funny if, like, even if he's not like an autonomous vehicle, he's just a driver in like a red suit. And like with the number, and you like and he's like ka-chow, exactly. Like that's it. Like you don't. It could be like it'll be real subtle.
I'm here for it.
But go ahead, Pong. You were saying something, right?
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, this is something that's been bothering me for a while. If the people at the TVA are all variants. How do we know that Mobius isn't one of several Mobius variants? Because remember, he goes to her office and she's like, "Hey, you leave all these rings on my table." I never left these rings on the table. Wow, you know, like.
Well, his name is Mobius.
And in the comics, there are multiple.
There are multiple.
If anyone's familiar with.
Okay.
And they'll make a great baseball team. But we get into that. I mean, again, just that joke right there. I just want to get into the concept of the TBA and all that, where we're now starting to see the cracks in the foundation, where Mobius and Hunter B-15 are starting to question what's going on. Even and this is reminiscent of when Sylvie touched Agent Hunter B-15, and you could tell that she probably got some of her dots back, which that's been confirmed here. The whereabouts of Hunter C-20, which is the other thing that sets us off, because they're like, Mobius is like, "Where's C-20? Oh, we had it because she died." And it's like, okay, like, and he thought that was weird. So what do you think Ravonna is hiding from them? Because again, it seems like she is or is she just a pawn in a bigger scheme? And Daphne, I'll take it away with you. Have you start on that?
Galactus.
I know I said it. Galactus, and that's all we're gonna get.
Yeah. Now you're in territory that I'm not familiar with at all. So it's like, yeah, Galactus. She's hiding Galactus.
He's gonna eat the planets.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting a buffet ready for Loki.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pong, take it away with this one.
I can't decide if Ravonna Renslayer is doing these things because she's clued into what's going on behind the scenes, or if she's just mad because Sylvie is one of the ones that got away from when she was, coming up. Like, is this the kid that the cop busted but got off on a technicality? You know what I mean? Like, is that what this is? Or is this, is there really some big sister thing? Or both, because she's, like, I'm going to get this person because this person is the one that's supposed to bring all this crashing down. I don't want it to, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because she snatched her as a kid.
Yeah. And that blows my mind too. Like, what on earth could a kid do? There was a theory that it was because she was making heroes out of the Valkyries. But is that enough? She's a kid playing with toys, and you know what I mean?
Oh,
a lot of theories.
There is.
And we swore that we weren't gonna do more theories, but Loki sent us back down that rabbit hole for sure.
I mean, they're not wild though. I mean, Galactus is wild, but like we're not.
That's the point, That's
Galactus,
how I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, I'm here for Harold the Galactus, so I'm here for it.
Yes.
We need a good Harold Galactus, because that Fantastic Four movie only gave us what, clouds?
It
was a super storm. It was terrible. Anyway, so my whole thing with this is that whenever it comes to Renslayer, is that I kind of just lean in onto the comic history for her, and that she's got that relationship with Kang, so that she's definitely in the know. But I also like your part in it too, Pong, that she's taking it like with Sylvie, she's taking it personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I think there's some truth to there that she took because she embarrassed her, even though she was able to move up in the ranks and become a judge. But right. I think she's more clued in. I think she's fully aware. She was the one who hid the fact that C-20 was killed, or like hid the fact of what the information for C-20 was. It was just that she was killed because she was losing her mind, not because she got her memories back. So there's a lot going on, I think, with her, and that she's not playing off, and she's the one that can see the timekeepers and all this other stuff. So I do think there is a bigger part for her to play because of the comic book lore that she has with Kang. I think most of the time when it comes with the MCU, most of the relationships that people have tend to be there. Like we knew in Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier, we knew that the Power Broker was going to be involved when we saw the U.S. agent. Yeah. Like we knew he was going to be involved, or she, in this instance of the comics, right, of the show. So we knew the Power Broker was going to be involved. When was the Power Broker going to show up? So those kinds of connections, they tend to keep them together. So I think just leaning in on that Kang thing makes me think she's in the know and she's fully aware of what's going on and just trying to kind of piece everything together. However, you've now have, cracks going. I don't know if B-15 got killed. I just know she got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And if she kind of just starting that whole internal process of getting everyone back, because that's kind of how you get rid of those types of regimes, is like you start from the inside out.
Yeah.
Law.
I'm with both of you guys. I'm with all three of you guys. Where like I want to see like why Sylvie was picked up so early on as a kid, because there's got to be a reason for it. Like there's like everyone had their reason. Like our Loki got picked up because he picked up the Tesseract when he wasn't supposed to, and he bounced around. Like Sylvie was a child. And maybe it's the reason why, she created her own magic, or, that her magic is powerful and what have you. But I don't think that's enough of a reason. I do think, yes, it's personal that they want, that she wants something. And you can tell, like, even when they were fighting, you can tell it was personal. Because, like, she was embarrassed by how, like, much Sylvie just washed her agents and, like, made fools of the TVA, essentially. Yeah. But I want to know, like, why? Right now I'm in the like, all right, why? There's got to be a greater reason for it. That's I'm sure she knows a lot more than she's probably a variant herself, but it's probably like the alpha variant, if you want to put it that way. Like she knows that there's other variants and other timelines where she exists, but for whatever purposes that she serves the original timekeepers or whoever is behind the shadow and controlling everything, she's their person in charge, essentially, to make sure everyone's staying in line. I also wanted to point, before you jumped ahead, Steve, as you mentioned the Lady Sif scene. Tom Hiddleston did such a fucking amazing job in this series so far, because that first episode we see him really break down and go through so much emotional grief, got that chip off his shoulder, and like really just go from like to this, right? This is the first episode I think we've actually seen him apologize. Like, since then. So him with Lady Sif going from like, oh, but then actually just going like on his knees, head up, and just defeated is really like that, like, to see how much growth that this Loki has. Because for us, our Loki had to wait to like Ragnarok, to like Endgame, to get like that kind of progression and development, versus here we see him get that progression in a shorter time span, but what had to be done to get him to do that. You know what I mean? Seeing Sif and going like, yes, I fucked up. I know you're just a pocket time, whatever thing. You're just going to keep coming back and saying the same thing, doing the same things. But I am sorry. I'm just seeking attention. And I was like, damn, they really broke him. They really fucking broke him. I love this show so much for that.
Did they get the same actress to play Lady Sif?
Yes, they did.
Oh,
they did.
Oh, that's
they
good.
they got the same actress. She played that scene perfectly, and it was
getting ready because she's gonna be in Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Also the way the way you were talking about that scene, it's like Groundhog Day.
Yes.
It essentially was
until he finally realizes what he has to do.
Right.
See, for those who love a day repeating episode, we got it in that short span right there, which I thought was dope. But the show explores a really cool concept. With reading what a lot of people are saying online, there's a concept that there's no fully good or evil that keeps playing on here, because really there's really no villain that we have really seen, or a face of a villain, or anybody doing anything villainous. It goes to the fact that the propaganda that they're using in the TVA, because they think that they are doing good for the timeline. So they truly think that they're doing stuff for the greater good, which essentially, again, was what Loki said. What he was doing was that, people want me to rule for the greater good. So he said that in the first episode.
To some degree, Marvel's been doing this with a lot of their shows, where we're getting very blurred lines of who's heroes and who's villains, and they've gone away from this is their villain of the movie or the whatever, and they just kill them off, and we're like, but they were so good. Just give us more of that.
But it's like Morbius, he doesn't come off as like he's doing what he thinks is right. B-15, everybody, even at this point, when you get to speak to Sylvie, know her story, and they even show in the beginning that she was taken away as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, she's not really a bad person. She was just, again, so this concept of that there's no really good or evil here. It's just people who think that they're doing something good. What do you guys think about that concept that is being explored with this show? Daphne, I'll start with you with that concept.
Okay, that I can talk about. Because actually, it's like I think that that's more of a Disney issue than a story issue. This is something that I've been seeing Disney doing, I think, since the first Iron Man, where pretty much that they were kind of like oh, it's like, you know, it's like it's all about, you know, like existential crises as opposed to like really going against an actual evil person. And this is a theory that I've been, and if you watch even their animated movies as that went along, you kind of get to see how that pattern comes out. Where, especially now with the remakes, where it's kind of like they're explaining away villainy. They did it in Maleficent. They did it in the Cruella movie, as stupid as that was. They were.
We don't talk about Cruella.
It's like you know, in Frozen, you know, there's, you know, all of their movies kind of have this lack of an actual villain, which, to tell you the truth, is something that kind of irks me, because I'm the one who likes the bombastic villains, you know, where it's like, you know, Maleficent just shows up and wants to kill a baby because she didn't get an invite to the royal christening. You know, it's like I don't need anyone to explain why she did that. But Disney is, you know, kind of like doing that, and I think it has everything to do with the fact that it makes it easier to market. And it's like every character you have in the Disney universe, you're either a princess or you're either a very sanitized villain, you know, but it's like but you're a villain and kind of like, oh well, he's really not that bad type of thing. I mean, like, they're even talking about how Gaston is going to get his own movie, and everyone that I'm reading and joking around, it's like, what, was his mother murdered by a woman who could read? I mean, it's like,
oh
what
my
could you possibly tell me about Gaston?
Yeah,
I think that this is more what's going on rather than the service of the story. Really, it's just Disney disappearing actual villains for the sake of marketing. I know that's a very, very cynical answer. But
no, it's a good answer. It's a very good answer. See, I mean, when we got Iron Man 1, we kind of got the cookie cutter villain in Obadiah Stone.
Right.
And at the time, it wasn't owned by Marvel. Now, knowing this, Disney, I know, doesn't have full control of what Marvel's doing, although they're just throwing the money. It's all Kevin Feige with the stories. And one of the biggest problems I remember people had with Marvel was that their villains were just one and done. They had no depth to them, which I think that's what Tom Hiddleston did with Loki. It's kind of changed that. But then I feel like, to your point with Disney, yes, they're doing too much now with their princesses villains because they want to copy what Marvel is doing. And it's like Maleficent was okay, but then it's like, we start going down this rabbit hole of other villains of stuff like give Gaston a movie. Like, dude, you don't make him out to be the hero. You make him to be the villain because there's no redeeming that character. There are villains that are non-redeemable.
Right.
And then there are
and they
villains
don't have to be. You know, it's like Kylo Ren didn't need to be redeemed. You know, it's like, you know, I come from the Skeletor, you know, type of, you know, villains where it's like, oh, let me see how I can, you know, do evil for He-Man. Yeah, bad. Exactly. Like, you know, I want to be bad. Yeah. And it's like, and that's, and I guess they're having a hard time with that now. Because like, oh no, everybody has to
bad
be. Bad
guys are having fun just for the sake of having fun. Let them enjoy it.
But that, you know, probably, you know, it encourages people to think that being bad is good, and it's like we can't have that, and it's like, and it's not good for sells toys. It's kind of like the DC doesn't have as much of this because the other problem that I have with that concept is that they have a character like Harley Quinn, who's a complete psychopath. But they're still trying to market the character to children. So yeah, and I think that Disney / Marvel is trying to avoid that, but it's like, oh no, she's redeemable character, and this look, we turned them into a good guy in the end, and this, that, and the other thing. But what it does is like something stupid like the Cruella movie, where it's a Cruella. I'm going to spoil it because the movie is stupid as hell.
I wasn't planning to watch it.
is thrown off a cliff by a pack of Dalmatians.
I heard.
Okay, so. But the thing is, though, it changes how you see the 101 Dalmatians cartoon, because now you're looking at Cruella. It's like, oh, those dogs deserve it.
Fucking dogs.
Those dogs.
Those
they all
fucking
have
dogs.
Comment. Yeah, exactly. So,
and we completely negate the fact that she was killing the animals for their fur.
Yeah, exactly. So it changes. So they think that they're kind of like neutralizing when they're actually kind of creating a whole other set of problems in the story timeline.
Yeah. Listen, we know Loki would push her off a cliff too.
Yeah.
But no, I really want to talk more about that. That's a great way of seeing it. But Pong, I want to get your thoughts on the theory.
Okay, so Disney doesn't do anything without market research.
Absolutely.
So when you say that Disney is trying to, clean this up, blah, 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 I'm pretty sure that is because their intended audience is looking for that. Like Sebastian said earlier, I think it was, they used to have very one-dimensional, this is the bad guy. He is a bad guy because he's a bad guy, And I personally, I would count myself as one of the groups that is glad to see there be shades of gray, because there are shades of gray. Sometimes the dogs are assholes.
Sometimes it is Cujo's fault.
Sometimes. That's right. So I don't mind that there's depth, and I also don't mind that there's redemption. Now, if you hyperextend that and say, well, I mean, it's really the fault of the guy that kicked Hitler out of paint class, No, I'm not okay with that. But in a fiction world, you can say, is Loki really bad, or was he misguided? Was he a bad person? But then there was redemption. I don't mind the concept of redemption coming into pop culture and coming into, for the love of God, please let it come into American life in general. Because we have such a one and done, like if you screw up bad enough, we're going to put you in a hole for the rest of your life.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to see those shades of gray. And I love that the younger generation is looking at those things and saying, no, there's a path back. I like that.
A much more, I guess, like a much more positive view from mine.
This was Pond's 50 Shades of Grey.
I actually agree with both of you guys on this.
Go, Law, you're tagged in next. Come on.
Oh, okay. So I might actually agree with both of you guys. Like I like having a villain be a villain for the sake of being a villain. I am a bad guy because I woke up one morning and chose violence.
Yeah, cool. Exactly.
Like that's absolutely cool. Sometimes you don't need rhyme or reason. They don't have to be crazy. They literally just go, you know what? This seems like seems like more fun. Right. It seems like more fun to do this than that. Loki, we see like Loki has been made out as a villain, but everyone loves him because they see the humanity in him. They know he is just a child seeking for attention. He is the younger sibling, the adopted sibling, and just like, hey, somebody fucking recognize me,
Mm-hmm. And like every child commits acts of genocide just to get their father's attention.
He's a god. But there's levels to this. Like it's one of those things where it's like I'm a god, and I'm gonna go so far, like out of my way to cause a ruckus that like now you have to look at me and like scold me because that's the only way you are gonna look at me and give me attention anyways. You know what I mean? And it's genocide. Like, oh shit, like Loki, don't go that deep. But like for him, like looking at Odin being like, yo, dad, like, Thor is always your favorite, but then why adopt me in the first place? you know. But to the point of, you know, having villains who are morally great, I love the morally great characters. I love heroes and villains who are morally great when that lines are blurred, because it makes for a more interesting story when you're looking at it from a stance of like, damn, are they right? Like, I know they're wrong, but I
don't know how.
Yeah, like where you're like,
I have stuff like that. Go.
Like we've seen it, and we've said it with at least a lot of the villains we've seen as of late, especially Killmonger. When Killmonger came out, everyone was like, "Yo, Killmonger was right." There was very few people who argued that. Very few people argued that fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yo, like, go ahead, Marvel." I was more mad that they got rid of him so quickly, because I think like he would have been a villain that would have just kept coming back, challenging a lot of what T'Challa was saying, was, you know, the status quo. You know, he's like, all right, cool, you got your throne, you got this, but what are you doing for this person? What are you doing? And he's constantly fighting, you know, to be the unsung, you know, voice. So I'm here for all of it. I like both. Give me more villains, and just stop throwing away and wasting villains. Like that was my biggest, and has always been my biggest gripe with a lot of Marvel shows and TV and movies, has just been like, I'm gonna make this great villain, Ultron, and I'm gonna wash him in the first one. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, dude. Like,
but I think that has to do with the fact that it's like, yeah, they want these morally great characters, but they don't want to commit to them too much.
Yeah,
that too. That too.
Because I've seen it.
Because there's a level. I don't know that Disney can do morally great characters versus I know Marvel, because of their comics, can do it. Right. And I think if they let them lean into that more, we'll see a whole new, like, you know, rise of like great villains that people are like, holy shit, the MCU just went that way.
Disney just needs to recreate new villains and not retell the old ones, because that's what they're doing a lot of when
but that's exactly why they spent like $2 billion to buy Marvel to just
Marvel, Star Wars.
I think they paid $4 billion for Lucas. But it's like, it's just to mine all that. They didn't spend all that money to be original. so they're definitely going to be mining all the IPs that are in the archives, and they're not going to create new characters just to,
well, we know why Loki really turned started becoming the good guy. It was family.
Because he's hot.
It was family.
Because he's hot. The fangirl's spoken.
I was gonna say it's family, and that's why Law left, because Van Diesel memes have been going around about family, and he just left. There you go. I was like, I can't take it.
Family. Family is the reason why everybody wins, is because of family. Got family.
No,
I hate it here.
Vin Diesel will always be Riddick for me.
There you go.
I hate it here. Can we not and say we did?
We did. It's there. It's live now. I'm so please take it away. We'll get your final thoughts, Toad.
Man, there's so much. There's so much here. There's so much. I'm on the same thing of, I like my villains to be villains, and I like my villains to be great. I think, to be really quick in regards to the villains to be villains, I think Disney, in regards to the Disney animated movies transitioning to live action movies, is where they dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah.
I need the villains in the Disney anime. I don't need them to be great. I need them to. I look forward to it to see how bad they are. Like, Jafar was a huge fucking miss. I love Jafar for who he is in the animated movie. For if they ever do a Sleeping Beauty, and if they bring Angelina Jolie, I need wrathful Maleficent that will turn into a dragon and wreck your shit. That's what I want. When we get Little Mermaid, Ursula needs to be conniving and like doing backdoor. Like, I don't need to know how Triton kind of did something. I don't need any of that.
Well, I don't know. They actually have beef, so
right. But I feel like it was more on site. Like, that just added fuel to the fire. The fire was already there though.
I think the big struggle is the transition from the villains from the animated show, because they were very black and white, bad and good. With the comic book stuff, Marvel has, ending these movies, has had just bad guys in these movies, and we complain that we don't get enough of them. Red Skull in Captain America 1 is a bad dude.
Yeah.
And we just lose him for 10 fucking years. We don't see him until he just shows up on Volmir, and I'm sitting there in the theater saying, "Holy shit, it's Red Skull!" Like saying that out loud in the theater, watching Infinity War.
Yeah, but,
right?
but it feels like they got washed. Like it was just like one and done.
It was one and done. He got washed, and like I understand that Hugo Weaving didn't want to do the character, and maybe it took him a while to find someone who can do his voice, and which they did because they found that guy from The Walking Dead. Fine, but Red Skull is an evil character that we could have ran with. Hela in Ragnarok, wasted.
Yeah.
She was bad to the bone. Like there was no redeeming. She was like, my dad put me away because I'm power hungry and I want to control all of the realms. And Odin had gray and had a change of heart. And he was like, nah, my daughter's crazy. I need to put her away. And I think
even though he pushed her to be that way.
Yeah,
right.
Yes,
I mean,
he did. It's
she
his
was
fault.
his muscle. I mean, it's like, and when he didn't want to be like that anymore, I mean, he created the monster. He just didn't want to take responsibility for her.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they have them. They have the potential to have these characters. Even Ronan the Destroyer, bad guy. Like didn't follow what the agreement for the war was, and just kind of was just doing his own thing.
Ego was the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
Ego was bad daddy.
Ego's a bad guy. Like you find out what happens, but he does it so well where he's kind of playing to Star-Lord's wanting and affections of having a father, but he had an agenda and there was nothing else. So I think they do it really well, but then they get rid of him. They just get rid of him. Ultron, I just think that Avengers 2 was a mess in general because of the pressure that Joss Whedon had. So there really isn't, you could just have a whole show talking about the mess that was Ultron. But Ultron should have been like a key villain, and James Spader, I think what they should do is all these villains that they have them sign this, all the big ones, have them do the same types of contracts that they did with Tom Hiddleston and all the other heroes, and we just bring them in and you can use them. Killmonger would have been fantastic down the line. Ultron would have been fantastic down the line. There's a reason why Thanos showed up 5 fucking times. Like, there's a reason, because they were building him up. And so we're going to use him. We're bringing in Kang early on in Quantumania, which means Kang isn't going to be a one-and-done villain. And if he is, the whole world's going to riot, because, like, that's ridiculous.
For real.
Like, he's not a one-and-done villain. He's going to show up and, and he's going to make moves. He's going to do this whole thing in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he's probably going to be the big bad, unless they do, like, Annihilus or any of these other things that people have been talking about. So I think that's just they got to commit to some of these villains and give them the contracts, and also have, like, you have the one-and-done villains, fine. Intro movie villains can be one and done. Like, Obadiah was fine being one and done. Abomination was like okay because we're getting him later on down the line. He's coming later.
He's coming back in Shang-Chi, and he's going to be in She-Hulk.
What are they doing with Taskmaster after we watch Black Widow? Like, what's the deal with him? I mean, I've heard some criticism about him anyway, but like, what's the deal with him, because he's such a name brand villain as well.
Well, the interesting fact is that when they were doing the Black Widow posters, how everyone's name is attached, they didn't attach the name of who is going to be Taskmaster.
Yeah, I think Taskmaster stays masked the whole time.
Yep, and so they're keeping that a little mystery.
I think that's my understanding.
Because it's Sebastian Stan.
Yeah. So I think I just think
he needed more work. He sent out that paycheck. It's Galactus. There you go.
It's Galactus.
For all the I definitely get the desire to have a bad guy be a bad guy, and like I can see the appeal of a one and done, but how good was the release when they finally fought Thanos? They've been building up to that for years, and then Captain America grabs the hammer and he's like, a symbol.
Yeah.
No one would have heard him, by the way. Like, he whispered it. No one heard it.
He said to the he's like,
hey, what did he say?
Yeah.
But now we're at this hour, guys. I want to thank you for the show. So
that was fast.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun, man. We're having fun here talking about stuff. But I want you guys to pitch your stuff, and we're gonna start with you, Daphne. You are thank you, new on the show. We want to have you back, but again, I'm glad to have this in my collection. This Daphne Lage.
Oh yeah, this is Tall Tales. Yes, so Tall Tales is my my funny animal furry adventure fantasy. It's in the style of Lord of the Rings. And this was a comic that I started drawing back in 1992 when I started self-publishing comics. So right now I have over 30 something issues already. Like I'm already like deep into the series. So what we did a couple of months ago is that we started re-releasing all of our books in trade paperbacks from the very beginning, so that you don't have to wade through, you don't have to go to the website and wade through like thousands of pages to get the story. So we're making it all very convenient for you. So actually it's like, if you go over to my main website, eagleworks.com, that's my main portfolio site. There you can find links to all of my social media and my galleries and whatnot. I mostly post to Facebook if anyone's interested in following me on social media. Twitter's a bit of a cesspool, so I'm mostly on Facebook. So this is one of my books that you can also find a link to at eagleworks.com. The other website is Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. And like I said, it's a furry a Lord of the Rings type of adventure, a lot of running, jumping, skipping, climbing Mount Doom type, if that's what you're into. But I do have another comic that I recently finished a Kickstarter for, and that I currently am fulfilling. And that is Eagle Raven and the parrot. And this is Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. And this one is a complete departure from, well, not completely because it's still medieval style. But it's a completely different story about a half unicorn, half human princess who's exiled from her magical kingdom into the world of men. And she's trying to figure out how to, how she's going to be able to come back to her kingdom and win her kingdom back from the dragons that stole it from her. And this is pretty much her adventures in the outer kingdoms, trying to maneuver her way back to win back her kingdom. So this is more of like a medieval style soap opera. So it's like if you're more into like more talky type, more relationship centered stories, this is the other series that I do, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. And if you go to eagleworks.com, you can read the first 5 issues for free. Just like with Tall Tales, if you go to Tall Tales Online, you can read the first 20 issues for free. That way you can get like a real sense as to whether you're into the story or not. And with Eagle Raven, what you're reading online is the original black and white version of it, because the actual comic that I'm printing through Kickstarter, that I'm producing through Kickstarter, is all in full color with new lettering, tweaked artwork. So this was, for the longest time, this was my main comic that I was working on with Tall Tales, 1,000 something pages. And I was and this was my hobby.
Nice,
if that makes sense.
Like it.
Yeah.
It's really thick. I like it.
Yeah, I think like the complete story arc is 560 pages, but I'm already in I'm already more than halfway in the second story arc too. And then we have like some one shots and another side story as well. So Eagle Raven was my hobby comic because, of course, it's like artists. It's like, oh, so what do you do for work? I draw. What do you do for fun? I draw. So that's what I was doing. So I finally, with the lockdown, I decided to finally get my butt in gear and go, you know what? I've worked a long time, drips and drabs on this series. Let me finally, now that I have all the extra time due to lockdown, let me learn how to recolor to color digitally comics properly. And let me finally put these things on Kickstarter. And so far, the response has been absolutely crazy for me for these books. I just want to thank everybody who's supported the books. But I mean, I know Sebastian, you're always supporting my books, so thank you very much. So it's like, so I have, so 2 types of fantasy adventure that everyone can pretty much get into. Although this one is more not necessarily an all ages book, but if you can watch Lord of the Rings, this is the type. This series is is good for you. This one, because of the content, right now it's still mild flavored, but by issue 7, everything kind of ramps up, and I have to start putting a mature audiences label on it.
Yes.
So it's if you're a fan of The Witcher, I guess, I think it's that type of content thematically. So this would be a little bit for an older crowd than this book, but like I said, it's like, I have something for everybody here who enjoys this type of fantasy. So
it's funny. Tone was showcasing Helm's Deep, the Battle of Helm's Deep on his TV a few weeks ago, and I was just like, "Oh, it looks so pretty on your TV."
Yeah. Or did you get the 4K?
Oh God, I did.
Yeah, of course, right?
It's such a worthy investment of time to get the 4K versions of the Hobbit and the trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That 4K master is spectacular. It's
incredible. Yeah. I know buying 4K videos and all this other stuff because I don't really buy the 4K UHD, but I was like, for that, I'm going to pay the money for it. And I was a happy camper when I got that optimized for my TV, and I have a sound bar, and you've got oh my God, it's amazing. I love it so much. It's
watching. Yeah. When you have a system like that, you have to watch Lord of the Rings and you have to watch the first Jurassic Park movie to get the full experience.
It's so good. It's like one of those things that make you appreciate when they do those remasters onto higher resolutions.
Pong, give the pitch. Come on, let's go, brother. You got that show. Come on, let's go. Let's hear about your show.
Why, as a matter of fact, I will. It's twitch.tv/Sin Shop. Every Monday night, we do a project night where me, Titans, M Elemental, and some other people from the Sin Shop in Las Vegas, we do projects, and we do them live, and you can kind of look over our shoulder and yell at us when we screw up the sound, as happens frequently. Would you like to know what a Sin Shop is by chance?
Well, absolutely.
Why? A Sin Shop is a maker hacker space located in Las Vegas, Nevada, that offers you the tools and equipment that you can use to make pretty much whatever you can think of. That's right. And it's basically, just think of it as a gym club with lots of really big tools that you can't fit into your garage. That's about what it is.
So you're building robots.
It's funny that you mentioned that because we actually started hosting robot fights.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, last week there was a team called Jackpot from the last season of BattleBots, and we've had them on the show a bunch of times, and we actually did a live event with them last Friday on that channel. So twitch.tv/Sin Shop, you can see the whole thing on video demand, or you can wait until this Friday and you can see the first half, and then next Friday you'll see the second half. And you can watch it all in real time, and I'll be there watching it with everybody. So it was great. It's the 1 pound and 3 pound classes, which is really cool because people can get involved in it for without spending several $1,000s. It's pretty legit. Yeah. So twitch.tv/Sin Shop or sinshop.org to find out more about the shop.
Oh, so it's kind of like crafting, but like more technologically.
Well, no, it's like crafting, but also crafting. There's people that sew. There's people that cook. There's There's people that operate a shop bot. People that operate a laser, and sometimes those are the same people. Seriously, yeah. So if you're ever in the Vegas area, definitely stop by.
Oh, we will. Well, don't worry, we're gonna be nerds invading in person. We'll hit the craft table first, and then we'll go over to the ship.
We will so do a live show. You let me know. We will definitely do a live event there. Absolutely.
But no, I want to thank you guys for coming on, sharing your stuff too on Nerds, letting people know more who you are, because again, you guys are doing some great stuff out there.
Thank you.
Paul, we always love having you on. Daphne, you're always invited to come back on.
Absolutely. I can come back and talk about stuff that I don't know about.
Anytime.
You just gave me an idea for an episode. We're gonna talk about villains. That's it.
Right.
That's
it.
Sin, what you got?
Can I do one more super fast thing?
What's up, Pong?
On the at the conference, I'm going to be doing a panel at your.
That's right. I didn't be on Con.
Hey.
Do you know who I have?
No.
Ooh.
I have Dr. Popular, who is going to be with me. Now you may say to yourself, who in the heck is a Dr. Popular? Well, he's been on the show as well. He's basically your basic Renaissance man, if you will. But he is the reason that you have a yo-yo emoji on your phone.
Ooh. He's
Okay.
Okay.
To get that on your phone. So we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. He does music. He makes his own games, all kinds of stuff. He's just a really cool dude. And so we're going to have him on the panel to talk about making and all things makery, essentially.
Listen, I'm glad you dropped that bombshell for those who are listening right now. And again, I will bring up that date one more time right here.
Yeah.
The 28th, the 29th, in Beyond Con virtual show.
That's
Again,
right.
we have over 30 plus panels, and these are some, and you just heard about one. Pon just spoiled the panel for you guys. He spoiled his panel for you guys. And then yes, through nerds, and we thank you for that.
That's right.
It's going to be an awesome show. Again, we have a lot of great people who are going to be participating. As you said, you would definitely see Pon there. He will have Dr. Popular there. You're going to be learning about the guy who created the yo-yo emoji, and definitely it's going to be a con for creators to come, network, learn, get together, and celebrate what we love to do, creating stuff like what Daphne did right here. But again, I thank you guys for coming on. This has been your host, Sebastian.
Your boy Lo.
And your boy Tone from across the hall.
Stay nerdy. Get ready for Black Widow this Friday, and we will have a double hitter for you next week.
Indeed.
Nice.
And remember, Galactus did it.
Galactus did it all. Galactus is Taskmaster.
It was Galactus all along.